Boise, Idaho isn't what a lot of people think it is, and if you're moving to Boise, that can be a problem. So today I want to clear up any confusion or misconceptions about Boise, Idaho, so you have a better expectation of what Boise, Idaho is actually like. My name is Brady Fagel. I'm a Boise local, and I'm also a licensed real estate agent. If you have any questions during this video or you're thinking of moving, shoot me a text or a call anytime. Now, when it comes to what people think of Boise, there are a bunch of misconceptions, and we're going to focus on those today. The rest is usually pretty accurate, so if I don't talk about it in this video, you can assume other things you watch or read about are pretty close to the reality. But the first one is home prices. I still get calls from people moving here who think Boise is a super cheap, affordable place to live when it comes to home prices specifically. But there's another problem within the cost of living that people really misunderstand, and we'll talk about that after we go through the home prices. The smaller misconception is that your standard home is going to be affordable. They think you can still find a home here for $250,000. That was true 6 years ago, but with the amount of people that have moved here, home prices have gone up 50 to 100%, which was amazing for people who bought homes in 2017 and made a couple $100,000 or more. But now when people call, I constantly hear people tell me they missed the boat, that they wish they had moved 3 years ago when they first thought about moving to Boise. Every suburb of Boise is going to be different, but in general, a starter home in Boise will be around $350,000 to $420,000. This will be your standard, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home with 1,200 square feet. Sometimes you can find homes for less, especially places like Nampa and Caldwell, and in some areas it is more than that, especially in Eagle or Meridian. In the next year, with where home prices are starting to trend though, I don't know or really don't think that we will have any homes under $400,000 left in the Boise area. Right now there is still a handful, and in some suburbs, homes under $400,000 have already gone away. In the next stage of life, usually your second home or a family home, they will be around $450,000 to $600,000, typically a 4 to 5 bedroom home with a smaller lot around 7,000 square feet and a decent or better subdivision. But the most common thing people think about Boise that is just not true anymore is the price of homes on land. I can't tell you how many times people have called and said they want to buy a home with 1/4 of an acre or half an acre, and I have to be the one to crush their dreams. So if you want a home with a half acre or more, you can assume your starting price will be above the $700,000 mark. Right now, the cheapest home on the market with at least half an acre is $720,000, and it looks something like this. Oftentimes it will be an older home that might need some repairs and will be in the outskirts of the city in most cases. If you want a newer home on land, start planning for $800,000 and up. I am tired of hearing you guys get sad and having to break the news to you, which is also why it's so important to give me a call or a text. Then you have personalized responses to questions. You have me as a resource. I sit down and I learn about you and help you figure out the best situation for you and your family, even if sometimes that means Boise won't be the best fit. So shoot me a text or a call anytime. I enjoy helping you guys in this process. And if you find any of these videos helpful, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out and it helps you not miss any videos. The second part of home prices that people don't always think about is that even though home prices can be more expensive in Boise, especially other than cities, people relocating to like a Texas or a Florida, if you look at the overall affordability, the property taxes, the utility costs, gas, groceries, insurance, Boise is more affordable on a monthly basis than states like Texas or Florida. And as an example, if you were to just take a look at Texas, factor in their much higher property taxes, utility costs, you can lose $50,000 to $80,000 in purchasing power in a home. So a better version of this is you could spend $80,000 more on a home in Boise and have a very similar monthly expense. Sometimes people get so focused on the purchase price of a home in Boise that they forget to factor everything else into that monthly expense that comes with living somewhere. The next one is another common misconception where people think Boise is one way and then they move here and realize it's just not. People assume that Boise winters are super harsh, and you see videos and articles about how horrible winters are here. and talking about the fact that you might not be able to handle it. But in reality, the winters here are not nearly as bad as people think. It's 35 to 40 degrees for 2 months, and it snows realistically 10 or 12 times a year. Most of the days it snows, it's less than 2 inches, and it's all melted by sunrise or the next day. We really only get 2 to 3, maybe 4 or 5, where we have multiple inches of snow and the roads are horrible for a day or two. The worst part about winter is the dark skies from inversions and it getting dark at 4:45. But most of the time winter gets overblown here. And then on the opposite side of this, people don't expect how hot Boise summers are. For that same reason, they assume Boise is a mountain town with harsh winters, so it must have mild summers. But in July, it's 95 to 100 degrees every day, with some years getting up to 110 for a week at a time. Kind of on the same note, people assume that Boise is a mountain town, which is halfway true. You can see the mountains from everywhere in the Treasure Valley, and if you live in the city of Boise, they are right in your backyard. But oftentimes people will come to visit and they do not expect how flat and yellow Boise was going to be. You have foothills in Boise, Eagle and Star, but they are covered in yellow grass for most of the year. And then the rest of the valley is flat. Most of the Treasure Valley is just farmland and emptiness. And if you look up Boise on Google, it's called the City of Trees. And yes, Boise does have trees, but it does not live up to the name that is given. And before we get into one of the biggest misunderstandings about Boise, there are not potatoes everywhere. Living here my whole life, I don't even know that I have really noticed potatoes that much. You'll see Idaho spuds at the grocery store, which other than that, you won't even think about potatoes. Even though Idaho is most known for being the potato state, the most redneck thing about Boise is really the Idaho potato drop during New Year's, and then the Airbnb that I'm sure all of you have seen, that's literally a potato. Other than that, you won't notice potatoes. And this actually leads me right into the next misunderstanding, and that is rednecks and racists. And in normal terms, this really just means politics. I think Idaho gets framed by certain places as racist redneck state with super Trumpers and QAnon people. The reality is that it's just not true. There isn't any more racist here than anywhere else in the country. The redneck part might be true. There might be some of that, but that's just people like me who love to hunt or drink beer. And then of course, the ranchers and farmers. The reality of Boise is different, and not just on the Republican side, but here's the reality of the Republican side. They love their guns, they love God, they love their family, and they love where they live. Most people just want to have their freedoms, live in an amazing place like Boise, shoot their guns on the weekend, parent and raise their kids the way they want, and just be kind. One of the best parts about Boise is just how friendly and loving everyone is. There's an amazing community of people, and oftentimes Boise can get framed as closed-minded, racist, who hate Californians. And although there are a few people who hate the people moving here, all they want is for Boise to remain an amazing place to live. On the other side of this, sometimes people don't realize that the city of Boise does have liberal roots. There has been a Pride Festival in Boise since 1989, and it has grown over the years. It's nothing crazy, but people sometimes get so focused on the fact that Idaho is a red state, they don't realize that there will be pride flags all over the city of Boise, a very democratic mayor, and some democratic social activities. The suburbs of Boise are about as red as it gets, but this can be something that people misunderstand. And if you want to learn about that in more detail, watch this video here, because I know many of you are moving to other areas specifically because of the politics. So I try to do my best to give you as much clarity on that topic in the Boise area. Thank you for watching.